The Knicks made a big splash right before the start of free agency, setting out 5 first-round picks and Bojan Bogdanovic to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for Mikal Bridges. This is an incredible pickup for a New York Knicks team that won 50 games and was just one win away from the Eastern Conference Finals despite several injuries to key players. Now, many fans were quick to call this trade a big overpay, and maybe it was. The Knicks did give up a lot of draft picks, but the beauty of this trade is that the Knicks only gave up one rotation player from last year. So the Knicks essentially just added Mikal to last year's roster, assuming they re-sign all their players. There should be immediate chemistry on the floor, considering Mikal, Brunson, Josh Hart, and Dante DiVincenzo all played at Villanova together and won the national championship. And the Knicks also will have 5 first-round picks over the next 3 years, so they still have flexibility to make more moves. Mikal Bridges is an NBA Iron Man, playing in all 82 games over the last 4 years. This is exactly what the doctor ordered for a Knicks team that had to deal with brutal injuries last season. And at 27 years old, he's just entering his prime, giving the Knicks a wide window to contend. But now let's break down Mikal's game to see what he actually brings to New York. With Mikal now on the team, the Knicks have a much needed additional shot creator. For most of his career, Mikal has been a 3-and-D guy, but he established himself as a borderline star on the Brooklyn Nets. After the trade to the Nets, he quickly became the top go-to guy, averaging 26 points per game in 27 games with the Nets in the 2022-23 season. Last year, he did regress, but he still had a very good season, putting up just under 20 points per game. His biggest strength as a scorer is from the mid-range, where he has a deadly pull-up. He's got a high release on the jump shot, allowing him to raise over defenders easily. He's also got a solid handle, and he can get to the basket where he converts in the paint at a high percentage. But it's worth mentioning that he's not an explosive athlete that can get to the rim easily against any defender, so while he does finish well, he doesn't get to the rim all that much. Last year was Mikal's first season as a team's top go-to option, and as a result, he regularly drew the other team's best defender and had to deal with much tougher defensive game planning from other teams, which is largely why his scoring regressed. Fortunately, the New York Knicks will simplify Mikal's role on offense. On the Knicks, Mikal is clearly the third option behind Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. He'll still have plenty of opportunities to create his own shot, but he won't be asked to carry the offense like he did in Brooklyn. He should thrive in that role, considering that he's been a great off-ball player throughout his career, especially when he was on the Phoenix Suns. Mikal is a career 38% three-point shooter. Last year, even with more defensive attention, he still drained 37% of his threes on a high volume 7 attempts per game. Both Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle draw a lot of double teams, so Mikal should feast on the open looks he gets from them. If defenders try to run Mikal off the 3-point line, he could put the ball on the deck and get all the way to the basket. He's also an amazing cutter, knowing to cut hard the second he catches his man ball watching to get himself an easy dunk or layup. He's also great scoring off movement, able to run off screens and catch handoff passes and score in the mid-range. His off-ball skills makes him an incredible complement to what the Knicks already have. And since he possesses the ability to create his own shot, he can run the offense on nights when Brunson and Randle go cold. But it gets even better. Mikal Bridges is also an excellent perimeter defender with the size and length to guard multiple positions. His defense has regressed a bit on the Nets with a higher offensive responsibility, but back on the Suns, he was an elite defender, making the all-defensive team back in 2022. Since he'll be going back to an offensive role similar to the Suns, I would expect his defense to pick back up again, and what's scary is the defensive potential the Knicks have with both Mikal and OG in their starting lineup. According to recent reports, OG is planning to sign a 5-year, $212 million contract to return to the Knicks. The Knicks were a top 10 defensive team last year. Their biggest strength on defense was their ability to protect the paint. Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson made it really tough for driving players to finish at the rim. OG Anunoby is a top 5 defender at his position, which brought the Knicks defense to an even higher level. With Mikal in the lineup, the Knicks could potentially have 2 lockdown perimeter defenders along with that incredible interior defense. I'm sure Leon Rose and the Knicks front office had the defending champion Boston Celtics in mind when making this trade. In order to make the finals, the Knicks will likely have to get by Boston, and the Celtics are built around their dynamic duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now the Knicks have two big, strong wing defenders to slow down the Celtics stars. Not only is this Knicks team much better, but they're specifically built to beat the Celtics. Assuming the Knicks bring back Isaiah Hartenstein, their starting lineup going into next season should be Brunson, Mikal, OG, Randle, and Ihart. Not only did this move give the Knicks a much better starting five, but it also strengthened their bench. Dante DiVincenzo is now the team's sixth man, and he should compete for the Sixth Man of the Year award next season. Last year was Dante's breakout season. He took on a much bigger offensive role after all the injuries and really stepped up, averaging 20 points per game post All-Star break. Now the Knicks will have a great spark plug off the bench in Dante. Deuce McBride also broke out for the Knicks last season. Not only did he remain a great defender, but his game also expanded offensively. In addition, the Knicks will also have Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson coming off their bench. This should easily be one of the best second units in the league next year. Overall, the Knicks have put themselves in a much better position to win the championship. Mikal isn't the biggest name they could have acquired this offseason, but he's the most complimentary star that was available. If the Knicks had gotten a legit superstar like Kevin Durant or Devin Booker, they would have commanded a lot of shots, which would have made them an iffy fit with both Randle and Brunson. At the very least, there would have been an adjustment period, but Mikal is a seamless fit. He won't demand a bunch of shots, and he'll do all the little things on the court that may not show up on the box score, but contribute to winning basketball. What last year's playoffs showed us is that going on deep runs isn't just about having a team stacked with star talent, but having players that have chemistry, play well together, and defend at a high level. Of course, it's incredibly important that the Knicks go into the playoffs healthy, but if the Knicks can be healthy come playoff time, they have a realistic shot at winning the championship. And what's also incredible about this deal is that they've maintained their flexibility. Say this doesn't work out, they still have tradable contracts, good young players, and future draft picks for another big move. So they have the best of both worlds, having the ability to contend for titles now while still having assets for future moves. But now I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on the Mikal Bridges trade, and do you think the Knicks are now the favorite for next year's championship? Let me see your thoughts down below in the comment section. Guys, I'm going to continue to talk about the Knicks along with other NBA teams all off season long, so if that sounds like something that would interest you, consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and have an amazing rest of your day.